Hey everybody, welcome to another Fun in 5. Going to bring you today Catan, formerly known as Settlers of Catan. This is probably the first game that I played that got me out of more traditional games that you often find at large retail outlets. Monopoly, Risk, Othello, Connect 4, all those games. I played all of those in my youth, but this was the first game that really broke away from mainstream aside from Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. So what is Catan and why do I like it? Well, first of all, it is what you call a gateway game. It's probably the gateway game. It's what many people like myself figure out as a first game when they're getting out there. And the reason is that it's more complex than any of traditional games that you may have played, but it's also simpler than the more modern board game industry that we're in today. And it introduces it in a refreshing way that is very visual and very tactile and interactive with other players. So I think all of those things, the fact that you have a nice visual presentation, you're always interacting with other players through trading, and it doesn't take a lot to get to understand how to play. The actions are quite simple, is why that gateway game works. And that's why the first thing that I like so much about it is that if I did have a new person coming to the hobby, whether it be a sibling or a friend, I could break this game out and teach them in a short amount of time, and it would broaden their horizon immediately from what they traditionally figured that board games are. Second thing I like about it is the components. They're very, very tactile, as I mentioned before, whether it's the roads that form on the board here and the houses. You just kind of have some fun when it's not your turn. It gives you something to do aside from thinking heavily about the game, just organizing, playing with them, fiddling with them. That might not seem like something important in board games, but it does distract the mind instead of always focusing on the game, and gives you something to do. So that tactile feel, as well as the different kinds of tiles that you have. So this board can be done in any ways. I have it set up now in the original format, but you can reconfigure the board in any way you like, rearrange the number randomizers in any way you like, so that every game could be a different experience and a different plan and strategy on how you're going to get the resources you need to attempt to win in Catan. So those components are cool. The cards, nice and colorful, and the boards that it comes with, just the goal boards, are thick and durable. So the whole thing comes together nicely. I think the best part of it is the hex-based interchangeable board. So components are great. Third thing I like about it is the variable setup. So like I said, with these tiles that can interchange, they have some guidelines that they recommend in the book. You can look some up online, or you can set it up in your own special way where you've got the harbor next to the goods or the harbor on the opposite side of the goods, or you have more luck getting certain resources than others because you can redistribute the randomized or the dice results any way you wish. So I think that's a really fun component, that you can rebuild the board in any visual way that you like, but also in any number sequence that you like. And it adds a lot of replayability and planning on who sets up the board and how you set up the board from game to game. All right, the next thing I like about is the game cards that come with it. So not only can you just play the game, but a part of the game is acquiring these special cards, which adds more variation to the game. So when you spend a certain amount of resources, I think it's, I'll show it up on the screen here, but when you do your development card, you can pay a wheat and a sheep and a stone, and you can acquire a card. But that card is also from this random deck. And it could be something as simple as getting a knight, which can help reposition the robber, steal some resources, and get the robber off your property. Or it could be something more interesting like a Monopoly, where you get to announce a resource and get it from all the other players. So these little event cards can really tip the game in your favor if you pull the right ones, or protect you from the robber. The most famed downside of this game is probably the robber. But the cards offer that difference in game-to-game experience, because one game you may be going for the longest road and you may really want the extra wall card. Another game you want the largest army, so you might be going to try to get extra knight cards. So it just offers different strategies from game to game that you might not have if you played a game without cards. So that's a fun part of the game. And then the last part, I mean, all of these things I love. I think the gateway game is really, really cool. The only downside to it being kind of sometimes the random number generation can be a sore spot. But what helps alleviate some of that is the expansion. So the fifth thing I like about the game there's quite a few expansions to the game, but these are the two that I like the most. Seafarers, which offers an expanded board and different visualization and different harbors and different paths to victory. That's one. But the one I like the most is the Cities and Knights expansion. And what that does is it gives you additional tokens, which you can really see and visualize on the board. But it also has a little kind of tableau that each player has, which make each of the dice rolls even more important, plus a brand new die that it adds to the mix. So Cities and Knights expansion, I would highly recommend if you ever did play this game. It also has a Viking, I think that's for the Sea expansion, but the expansions add some more flavor into what's already a really cool game. So those are some of the things that I think are fun about Catan. I think it's a game, if you've never played it, you really should. Regardless of what some people may say about it, I think it adds a lot to the board game industry, and it really helped elevate the industry to where it is today. I mean, many people refer to it and think fondly of it as the game that got them into the hobby. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.